Obama administration former Deputy Assistant Secretary of State and president of the Washington Strategy Group, Joel Rubin. Joel, good to see you. Look at this. We have Egypt and Jordan that have rejected the idea of accepting Gaza refugees. They did so early in the war. Do you think they'd be open to taking them now? Could Trump force them to do that? Are there concerns that Israel might build settlements in Gaza and never allow Palestinians to return to their homes?
Yeah, well, Alex, it's great to be with you. And, you know, there's a real through line here, isn't there, where we're seeing President Trump now telling our allies to take people at his fiat, at his command. And when it comes to the Palestinians, this is really flipping the entire script on American policy towards the Israeli-Palestinian conflict and essentially unilaterally saying it's over. Two-state solution should not be the goal. It's time to move the Palestinians out to Jordan, out to Egypt, out to wherever. He doesn't really seem to have much of a plan for it. And that's just the way the world is going to work. And so this sort of madman theory that sometimes was attributed to him to try to intimidate folks around the world, it's more like a Mad King theory right now. And I fear that it's going to cause real ruptures with our allies we depend on. Jordan and Egypt, for example, we depend on them to help us fight against terrorist activity coming from the Middle East, to ensure that we have our bases secured in these countries for those efforts. Colombia, you know, the not only will the price of coffee and chocolate spike, but we also highly depend upon Colombia for stability in the northern part of South America. And so this really has serious risks to it, not just rhetorical ones coming from this president.
So the ceasefires in both Gaza and Lebanon, they appear increasingly fragile, Joel. In Gaza, Israel is preventing Palestinians from moving back north. They say Hamas has violated the terms of the truce. Israeli forces have also stayed past the agreed to 60-day agreement to withdraw from southern Lebanon and killed at least 15 protesters there today. Are these ceasefires going to hold?
You know, Alex, they should. These are ceasefires that were negotiated. The one in Gaza is a 6-week phase one. There's a phase 2 and a phase 3 envisioned. But it's going to require, as you just laid out, a lot of hand-holding. Same thing with Lebanon. There is wiggle room to delay, but that has to have with it allies like the United States, like Qatar and Egypt and Turkey and others who have been involved in these negotiations, to have us all engaged and to ensure that it works. If we leave it up to the parties alone, just Israel and Hamas or Israel and Hezbollah, it's going to fail. It's going to collapse. It's going to require multilateral engagement led by the United States. That's the secret recipe for all of this. And you know, if President Trump doesn't want to get involved and doesn't want to really push through, we're not going to see a phase 2 in Gaza, and we're not going to see a continued ceasefire in southern Lebanon. And I'm a little concerned about his interest, quite frankly, after these comments over the weekend, in pushing hard for a phase 2 in Gaza and maintaining American engagement on these ceasefires.
What is the future of Gaza? Is it Palestinians being allowed to return and rebuilding, or not?
You've been asked, you just asked the question, frankly, it's been asked ever since the early days of this war, since October 7th of 23. It's the post-conflict vision. Will there be a reconstruction? Will there be a governance structure inside Gaza? The Palestinian Authority, which has official leadership in the West Bank of the Palestinian communities, they have not been brought over to Gaza. And we've seen since the ceasefire a resurgence of Hamas leadership there. So all of these questions, there is a mechanism. It's called the phase 3 part of this ceasefire deal that President Trump and his team supported at the end of the Biden administration. They have to start answering these questions. They have to work with their allies in the Gulf, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, the UAE, and others, to see if they're interested in supporting the physical reconstruction of Gaza. And now this is a real challenge to those countries. Just want to add, what President Trump said over the weekend should put those countries on alert, that if they don't come in with an alternative, then he is going to move towards pushing the Palestinians out to other countries. And that, of course, would create a whole host of other disasters.
There's a lot more to talk about in the coming days. We'll see you again, Joel Rubin. Thank you so much.